Bracket is ready. Okay, bring it up. Show us what happened.
At one time.
All right. Well, yep, there we go. We saw Zach Allen and we saw Joseph Bernal winning. The other winners were Christoph Schlom has ended the absolute domination of Piper Powell over the entire event or the entire weekend. So Piper Powell goes, let's see, 9 rounds plus elimination rounds, and then another 7 rounds into the top 8 before losing a match.
That's crazy. That's honestly fantastic weekend. So
yeah,
congratulations.
Super impressive. I'm sure she had a good time, and she is now qualified for the end of the year championship. We also saw Joseph Bernal defeating David Delgado. So Joseph Bernal moves on. I believe this is something like his 14th Energy top 8 going back several years. And then we have Connor Hebart with the Mono-Green 12+ deck that did defeat the 8 cast played by Antonio Zanuto. So that is a top 4 bracket, as you can see there. We have Decklist. So we're going to be watching Joseph versus Connor. Let's go ahead and look at them and get this rolling. I know you had to wait a while in between rounds, so thank you for sticking with us. Joseph Bernal's Izzet Delver deck, we've seen it a couple times. Anurag, anything here noteworthy, aside from what seems to be the only varying factor is the number of Mishra's Baubles that people choose to play?
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. It's Blue-Red Delver, Joe. There's not too much that has left to be explored with this deck. I'm going to just point out a couple numbers here, and you can make whatever conclusion you want with it, but there's the 1 Pyroblast, 2 Baubles, and then I see 2 Brazen Borrowers. Otherwise, everything else seems relatively straightforward. I would say at this point, Mystic Sanctuary in the mana base is stock.
Yeah.
So that's about it in terms of the main deck. And in the sideboard, that's a different story. I think the meltdowns, the number of meltdowns is especially interesting. But, otherwise, oh God, no, this price of progress trend needs to stop. We need to stop. This needs to stop now. Nip it in the bud. I am not a fan.
Well, so back in the day, say 6 years ago or so, all the Blue-Red Delver decks were burn Delverless, and most of them had price of progress. And now that we're back to 2-color Delver decks, why wouldn't they go back to playing price of progress? It makes sense to me.
I remember Andrew Schneider, who was playing not Smash to Smithereens like everybody else was, but was on the Smelt tech. And I was like, whoa, I don't understand this. And then like years later, I learned about mana and using your mana efficiently. And I was like, whoa, this guy was smart.
All right, let's go ahead and look at Joseph's opponent. We have Connor Hebart playing Mono-Green 12+, a deck that we have not had on camera today.
Yeah, this deck is basically, it wakes me up in the middle of night. I have got sweats. I'm crying. And just ode to getting hardcast Emrakul when I'm playing blue-white. But this deck is Cloudpost into Cloudpost into Cloudpost, and you generate so much mana so quickly, and then you follow up with an uncounterable, or not uncounterable, but you follow up with an Eldrazi that has an uncounterable trigger, and you win the game that way. This deck, if it's left to do its thing, it's like the big kahuna in the format, right? Very few things go over the top of Cloudpost. The problem is that, Cloudpost is very susceptible to Wasteland, which is one of the big pillars of the format. And so you'll notice certain tools like 4 copies of Pithing Needle. You have cards like Elvish Reclaimer to tutor up your lands, also to, protect your lands from Wastelands here and there and things like that. Also, there's Primeval Titan, which is pretty interesting. And then any modern players who are sad with the Eye of Ugin ban, well, you get to play that card in this format too. So a lot of stuff you can do here. Very, very powerful stuff here. I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Lee in the chat because I know Lee has been playing Cloudpost for a long, long time. In fact, has given me many losses. And so will be a lot to learn here from this. I do think in game 1, if Wastelands are drawn, they're going to be very good. I mean, and then I would just give it to Delver. That's basically it. Does Delver draw Wastelands? They win. Are we able to stop the Pithing Needle on Wasteland? We win. Otherwise, turn after turn, you gain life through Glimmer Post. You have a lot of ways to give yourself consistency. This deck is very powerful with the right draws.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. I mean, just the fact that the Emrakul twins are, or not twins, but they're both in this deck.
Yeah.
Connor didn't want to make a choice, just plays them both. That's awesome. And then the Kozilek along for the ride. This was the matchup back. I did not want to play this matchup ever. I remember being put on camera in Star City events playing Miracles against 12+ and thinking to myself, as my opponent's like, oh, turn 1 Cloudpost. I'm like, oh,
Man,
They're
just
just
scoop it
trying to
up.
make
Next
me look
game, let's
bad.
go.
Yeah, I know. I mean, why are we even playing this match?
Uh,
We're done here.
Remember I
But
was telling you about him to Torok earlier and how I just
yes,
start fuming from my ears? Yeah, same
yeah.
thing with Cloudpost. That's another one where I'm
But
just
you
like,
can't.
whew.
I mean, you can't have infinite pet peeves. You're only.
Oh no,
You
no,
can only
I
have
most definitely
like.
can, Joe. Listen, we were playing Magic the Gathering. I am allowed to have as many pet peeves as I want.
All right. Well, we'll see. Yeah, it was the Pithing Needle versus Wasteland is a huge part of the matchup, at least in
Yes.
game one, like you were saying. Now, after boarding, I mean, there is some alternative ways to gain mana, like Carpet of Flowers. Nice. I mean, normally in almost any deck you're playing, if you have Carpet of Flowers, you can basically cast anything you want, even if you don't have any of your own land. That isn't even close to the case here, but it may be enough to help things out in Endurance. 4 copies of Endurance after boarding is nice. That's a great way to get in the way of really everything that this Blue-Red Delver deck is trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
found that Endurance is just like a breath of fresh air for these green decks because, being able to put a roadblock in the aggressive plan for Delver. I mean, especially nowadays, we saw the Delver deck, right? So, kind of interesting is we've seen a lot of variations of Delver over the day. I told you about some of the fluctuations in this list right now, but
Mhm.
catch this in the NRG Series Championship earlier in January. Joe Bernal was also caught playing Delver. The big difference is Joe was playing some number of young pyromancers. You'll see those
Right.
cards are completely gone. So this deck has slimmed down, got a lot leaner. It has the power to make those tempo plays of old where they just go like, here's a 1-drop on turn 1. Oh, and here's 2 1-drops on turn 2 and more 1-drops on turn 3. It's got explosiveness now. And, before with Ragavan in the deck, it played more of a control-ish role, just like card advantage, Jun my way through the game, expressive iterations and things like that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, is you want to get out there, but you can't. We had a camera match earlier today where Blue-Red Delver played turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 2 1-drops, turn 3 2 more 1-drops. 5 1-drops. Did not win. That was too much. You got to have a mix. You got to
kicker,
have a mix
yeah.
of creatures and spells and lands. Both players obviously did not have a mix of creatures and spells and lands and going back for a new hand. So we've got the 6-7. So both lower seeds here, both players won on the draw, and Connor now as the 6th seed gets to go first in top 4. That's something that's an unexpected bonus.
Mm-hmm.
You never rely on that. Onrog, what is a
42.
popular legacy deck that we did not see here in our top 8 today?
A popular legacy deck. Well, okay, we saw. I'm gonna say some variation of combo. We didn't see show and tell, for example.
True.
We didn't see. That's one deck. Let's see what else is there. Oh, is this an underhanded control? Is not nowhere to
No,
be seen in this event. No, okay. Oh,
no, Zach Allen's playing control. He's in the top
oh,
4.
well, okay. That's interesting. That's combo. Okay, fine. Yeah, by my book says that does qualify as that. So I guess we do have some version of control.
All right, so now we have, while trying to draw or cut through your opponent's deck, a card flips over. That shouldn't matter too much as deck lists are known, but will probably require more shuffling.
Yes. Here's one. Lands. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. We did not see. And I talked to Julian about this earlier today. Like a week ago, I was playing online and I played against Winding Way Mulch Lands. That was the new one for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the new tech.
Yeah, I guess. I was kind of surprised as they mana bonded 8 lands into play on about turn 3, but it was
Yeah.
certainly effective.
What's that song? Zombies. You know that one, right? You got to
Yes,
know that one at least.
I
Okay.
do know that one. I played in the Pro Tour, where half the Pro Tour teams were listening to that song on repeat constantly from Standard, where everyone played Zombies. It was the most popular deck in the room.
Oof. Okay. Okay. But so this is a mulligan to 6 for both players now, just to clarify.
I believe that's correct. Unless somebody went to 5, they both at least mulled once.
Okay. Maybe maybe Bernal is still thinking about
Yeah.
his 6 here, but like I have to say, like, this matchup like is not conventional Magic, right? You might think that keeping my hand of like creatures and counters is good like it normally is in Delver versus your generic matchup, but here it's all about denying the plan of Cloudpost, right? You need to Wasteland and just scratch that. You don't get to Wasteland anymore. Pithing Needle, probably going to name Wasteland here. Not even going to wait for the table spotters to tell me. I can guarantee you that's the name.
Yep, that is how this works, regardless of what's going on. Yep, and Connor Hebart does name Pithing Needle. Can I get the... Right, I don't know what I just said, but yeah, Pithing Needle does name Wasteland.
Yep.
I was just corrected, and I don't know what I said, so there we go.
Hey, you're good. You're good. Yeah. So here, I like this. A little bit of consistency. Bauble, going to see the top card. It's not good. Shuffle it away. What does this mean? Maybe there's another land in Bernal's hand that is not a fetch land. I don't know how we actually get rid of the Pithing Needle. That's a lie. I do know. I think Joe showed us 2 copies of Brazen Borrower, which is going to be very good in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. So, Anurag, here's a question for you while we're waiting for this ponder.
One of these times, it will be 42, Joe. It will be 42.
Well, this is more. Have you ever had an opponent Pithing Needle naming Pithing Needle online?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Because I've had it happen. I've had it happen twice. Because you just lose track of what's going on. You like, what do you want to name? Like, this is a Pithing Needle, obviously, and then usually the player just shame concedes. But I have had that happen twice.
I think. Oh no, the new card to name, it was just recently printed, is "You're Already Dead," I think. Is that the new one? That's a good name. There was an article for like best Cabal therapy names, and I think top tier was also like play of the game. There's the classic, what is it called? Oh no, what's the first item available on Magic Online? Oh no, this is so embarrassing. I know this one, but it's +2 mace now, which is unfortunate. But yeah, like look at that. I don't even remember it anymore because it's
Abandoned Hope was one.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm sorry.
All right, so we have here no Cloudpost in play yet, but Expedition map able to tutor 1 up, and there is the Wasteland, which is now just a colorless source. And Bernal without an early threat. I mean, sitting on counter magic works against a lot of ramp or combo decks. It doesn't necessarily work against this one.
Yeah, we saw in many matches in Modern today, you have to have the interaction and you have to have the pressure. I cannot stress this hard enough. You have to have the pressure. Right now we have, well, technically neither. I'm going to assume here that Bernal's got something like a Brazen Borrower. Passing turn 2 with nothing else to do is a little bit suspect here, but we might be setting up for a powerful turn later on too.
Maybe it's a petty theft that's going to come in right here and get that needle off the board.
That would be pretty good. Yeah.
That would be something. I mean, the Cavern has done its job. Elvish Reclaimer's on the board, but that is something that Bernal can deal with. And there it is. Brazen Borrower's backside will take the Pithing Needle off the board. At least that's what Connor assumes is going to happen.
Right. The real question is, this unlocks the Wasteland for a turn. So you have to use it here. Using the Wasteland on a Cavern of Souls is not as fulfilling as using it on something like a Cloudpost.
I agree with you, but the other alternative is that Bernal's plan is to counter the Pithing Needle on the way back down and then just hold the Wasteland for whenever he wants.
Facts.
We shall see. Here's a Brainstorm coming, so Bernal will have some new cards to evaluate, a new course of action.
Dragon's Rage Channeler, Volcanic Island, and one more card to draw here. I'll tell you what card needs to be played this turn. 100% it's Lightning Bolt, because an unchecked Elvish Reclaimer will absolutely win the game from this spot. Not even close. It is just too powerful of a card in these sort of green decks. Even in Elves, and I'm sure Julian was talking on and on about it, that it does so much. So much.
Yeah, it's very strong. Can you believe in the Elves versus Maverick matchup, Julian was undecided on who he wanted to win?
He's been through his own adventure. I feel like he's had his own like little like anime story where, you know, chapter 1 was Elves, and then chapter 2 he went through the Maverick phase. I know for like the Legacy Premier League, he played a lot of Maverick then. And now that's a good question. I mean, where is Julian now? He was playing the Ragavan Saga deck too for a while as well. So yeah.
He's made his way all around the format. As Joseph's given some thoughts to this Brainstorm, obviously not an easy decision, and there are significant stakes on the line as we are in the top 4 of this 5K now. All right, but fetching here, and Volcanic can be tapping. So you said Dragon Rage Channeler in hand, but you think prioritize just get that Elvish Reclaimer off the board now, and he agrees with you.
Yeah, Again, you have to analyze what your role is in this matchup, and it is not to just get crazy aggressive. It is to get aggressive enough to kill your opponent while disrupting them, right? You don't need to put them down to -5. You just need to get them down to 0 and make sure that they don't win. That's it. Which is like, okay, it seems really simple, all things considered, but like that is you overkill. You never get rewarded for that in Magic. Just do what you got to do.
Needle and not another land for Connor. Joseph has to be thrilled with that development.
Well, there is another land in Connor's hand, but it's not one you want to play this turn. Without looking, can you guess what it is?
Is there a Glacial Chasm?
Good job, Joe. Okay, well done. Well done.
I definitely didn't see that, but I couldn't think of any other one.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, there is Delver. There is Dragon Rage Channeler. The 2 1-drops in play for Bernal on turn 4, and it's still maybe good. And Caracas is probably not the ideal land either. All right. Green Sun Zenith for 1. Likely to just find another Reclaimer. And Connor's hand, I haven't got a good eye on it. It could consist of anything. It could be Endurance, could be, random Eldrazi creatures that won't come into play for quite some time. And this Zenith is going to resolve.
Now, notably, we do not have 3 lands in the graveyard here, so Elvish Reclaimer is still a 1/2, and that means a Bolt will be able to connect with it.
Yeah. And Connor's still at 20. Does Bernal have Delirium? Seems possible. If there's a Bauble land, Ponder, and Brainstorm, that would do it. So the bottom 4 cards of the graveyard on their own are sufficient.
Now I have to wonder, is that a second copy of Brazen Borrower in Bernal's hand? That is actually just crazy if it is. But now I feel like we have done enough disruption. So this Pithing Needle on Wasteland maybe doesn't even matter too much because we've slowed our opponent down. We've found a way to untap with Delver that might flip, and the Dragon's Rage Channeler that should have Delirium at this point because we put a Bauble in the graveyard in turn 1.
Yeah, there's a Bolt on upkeep to try and flip that Delver. And
love that play. Love that play so much.
And it's in. So 6 damage coming across in the air. That's quite a clock starting from the very beginning with Connor still at 20. And yeah, Glacial Chasm, not a card you can play and then try and develop afterwards.
Right, exactly. You need to. It's one of those kind of cards that you are happy to play once your mana base is established.
But Jugabog cleans out the graveyard, so Dragon Rage Channeler will start over. But as we've seen many a time, it does not take much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was a 3-turn clock, thanks to the lightning bolt that we knew of. 6, 6, 6, and 3. Now 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3. Math. That's your job, Joe. I'm here to just make smart statements and look extremely handsome and the usual stuff.
I don't know if you're succeeding at those either, but all right.
I tried. Yeah. I don't know what you want from me. I've tried.
Well, 4, 4, and 3 would do it. And if there's a land, Joseph doesn't even need a lightning bolt because the Brazen Borrower is sitting there waiting in the Adventure Stone to come into play. So 4 comes across, Connor down to 7, and yeah, it looks like dead on the board next turn. And committing Glacial Chasm here is not great either. There's also Green Sun Zenith. So
I'll tell you something, Joe.
Yes.
Committing Glacial Chasm is not even good enough here.
No. Yeah. Endurance. Oh, I was gonna say in Green Sun for 3, getting Endurance might be interesting, but instead.
This isn't too bad. You get the Elvish Reclaimer, and it's a blocker for the Dragon's Rage Channeler since we no longer have Delirium.
Right.
But that being said, you flash in the Brazen Borrower and end step, use the Petty Theft, bounce the Pithing Needle, Wasteland again.
Whoa. If we're going to use the Petty Theft, let's just bounce the Reclaimer and win the game.
Okay, but here's my counter proposal is then we get to draw more cards in the future turn. So
right, I knew
that. you forgot my back door out, Joe. It's always there.
You're right.
Can we win this turn? No, we must do better. We must do better.
Can we win in 10 turns? And can we lock up the game? Can we lock up the game now to win 10 in 10 turns? That's how we had a 40-minute game 1 in the quarterfinal. Anyway, so okay, Bernal sitting here wondering what risks are there, what's left to deal with.
It's really funny too because one of the outs here could be something like a crop rotation, right? Like bouncing this Elvish Reclaimer is somewhat of a committed play. You have lethal, but like, what happens? The crop rotate, they put Glacial Chasm into play, and then you have to wait a couple turns. That's a big deal. What Joe doesn't know is that the Glacial Chasm is in Connor's hand, and that's going to wrap up the game here.
Yeah. All right. So even if that hadn't worked, crop rotation for Glacial Chasm there still would have left Connor in pretty rough territory. So game one of the top four goes to Joseph Bernal, trying
Yeah.
to build upon his resume already with, I believe, 13 energy top 8s, 14 now in the books, and looking for a win. Let's go ahead and go back to the sideboards and see. Okay, we can look at Joseph's player slide there, as you can see, and 13 top 8s and 3 wins. So trying to get that 4th win on the board.
Yeah, why not have that playset, right?
Absolutely. Other achievements there you can read for yourself, as well as some facts on his interests. Most frequently used emoji, the fire. All right. Well, he's definitely bringing the burn to Connor Hebart right now, but can Connor do anything about it? Let's see. Let's go ahead and look at the sideboard. Honorog, there's some help here.
There is. Yes, this is not a lost matchup. You have a lot of tools in the sideboard, and it all starts with Carpet of Flowers. This card is the one card in all of Magic that I think gives any deck the chance to more reliably beat Delver. You might think, oh, removal spells, that's great. Yeah, no. This is it. The reason that Delver wins is because they are leaner, they're more efficient, they're more effective. Use all the buzzwords here. Carpet of Flowers unlocks your deck to do crazy stuff, right? It gives you the extra mana to play your endurances. It gives you the mana to sink into Green Sun Zeniths, caster once upon a time, so on and so forth. Endurance is also very good, and I do expect the last 2 copies to come in. And in game 2, what we're going to see, what I expect to see, is less of a focus on the Cloudpost strategy of going big, and a much larger emphasis on stabilizing the board, making sure that you are not dying to the Delvers and the Dragon's Rage Channelers, and I guess trying to fade the Murktide Regents too, and then setting up the big mana, then going for the big plays.
Yeah, I feel disappointed and a little bit gypped here. This is Mono-Green Cloudpost. There's 12 posts, and we saw none.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
That's not okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at Bernal's deck again. Is he going to try and bring in answers to his Pithing Needles? I mean, you're not going to melt down a Pithing Needle, right? That doesn't seem like a good way to go. In fact, you're just going to just sidestep that entirely and go with Price of Progress, maybe?
I actually don't mind the meltdowns here. I think the Wastelands are so important in this matchup because if you look at it as a function of mana, Wasteland against Cloudpost is not just a single sinkhole. It's like 3 or 4 sinkholes combined into this 0 mana spell. So I do think it's that powerful and that you do want it. You have a couple dead cards in the matchup like Pyroblast. I'm not even sure if you want your full playset of Dazes, things like that, right? So you might have the space to bring in all the extra cards. Now, that being said, it really depends on how you have to like use game 2 to sort of analyze Connor's play pattern, because there's a chance that the mono green deck just goes basic, Carpet of Flowers, and your Price of Progress looks foolish.
Sure.
And in those situations, I mean, I guess Wasteland would be not great too, but you can still use Wasteland in some ways or the other. Cards that I do know for a fact will come in though are the Submerges. Those are going to be pretty good, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see that little cheeky Snapcaster Mage make it into the post board configuration as well. Buying back Lightning Bolt is pretty important.
What? Buying back Lightning Bolt? We're just going to camp out and trade, and then I'm going to go Price of Progress, Snapcaster, Price of Progress, win the game. That's all we need.
That's a dream. Yeah, I mean, there's also Mystic Sanctuary too. There are a lot of ways to go about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so we have multiple ways to make that happen. Yeah, I'm set to just trade off cast counters and then Price of Progress for the win. I mean, there's only 2 copies, sure, so it may not work. But
yeah,
I am absolutely bringing that in priority number 1.
The last copy of the last cards to consider are Force of Negation. I wouldn't say
agree.
this is a slam dunk in this matchup because there is a pretty sizable creature base in the Cloudpost deck, but being able to counter cards like Crop Rotation, being able to counter cards like Green Sun Zenith, it's just a lot more useful than having, dirtily cards like Mishra's Bauble, for example. I mean, Bauble is great at giving you Delirium, but in post-board games, a lot of the time you just need the business, and that's it's very relevant. Again, the whole idea in this matchup: disrupt them just the right amount, and then cross the finish line with your 3/2s and your 3/3s and your 8/8s and your whatnot. It's we'll take a look and see how the games actually play out. But there are a lot of cards to bring in, a lot of different ways to pursue your post-board deck construction based on how you see your opponent playing the match as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I could have had an eye on the preview monitor of Joseph Bernal sideboarding just now, and there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot of cards coming in, a lot of cards going out or being considered. So we'll see. It's still giving me some thought. Meantime, I am told we have a fairly big audience, so thank you all for being here. And remember to hit the follow button on Twitch. You can also follow us on various social media platforms, Twitter. I think we have a Facebook. We may have a TikTok. I don't even know. If you want to be notified about upcoming events, or if you want to, I don't know, buy cards from Nerd Rage Gaming. I guess that's the whole point of our existence here. Or so I'm told. I thought the idea was to make us look like idiots on camera in front of people. But anyway, Anurag's here with me. We've been here all weekend long, or at least I have been. He's joined us for the top 8 this morning, top 8 tonight, putting in yeoman's work. We've got a couple rounds left. The rest is semifinals. Bernal looks like he's finally done or at least sideboarding. Now shuffling. Let's go back down to the table and see the next game of our semifinals.
All right, and here's a question for the viewers today too. For anyone who has thoughts on this matchup, let me know right now who you think is going to win in the first post-board game. Do you think it's going to be Joe Bernal and Izzet Delver, or Mono-Green Cloudpost at the hands of Connor Hebart? Joe, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to take it?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Pile shuffling is a waste of time. We don't need that.
Okay.
No. I don't know. I would like to see Connor win. I want to see. We haven't had the Cloudpost deck. We've seen Delver decks win today. I have not seen the Mono-Green 12 post win today because we haven't had it on camera before. So I would like to see this deck function the way it's intended, and then Joseph can have his shot at winning game 3 and taking on the match. But I want to see. I don't even care how it works. Primeval Titan would be satisfying, whether it's an Eldrazi. I don't care. I want to see Cloudpost generating mana.
All right. Well, first things first, Joe. I'm also a pile shuffler, so I'm guilty, and I understand. I understand the math, the logic. It all makes sense to me, and yet I'm but a human, Joe. I am not without fault.
We got you to stop getting yourself thrown out of tournaments. You stopped doing that. You haven't done that for a while, right? Now we'll just have to work on your pile shuffling, and then at some point
I'll be unstoppable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'll literally like bounce bullets off my chest or something. I don't know. Iron Man.
All right. So both players keep 7 this time, as opposed to last where we both went to 6, and we have turn 1 Elvish Reclaimer. You called it that Bernal needs to prioritize removing those. Let's see if he's able to do that.
Bang.
Oh, no.
Different
Delver
kind of bang.
Secrets. I mean, that's great. Getting a threat is nice and everything. And there is a Wasteland in hand for Joseph. So, Connor, let's see you navigate this game. See what happens. Whoa! He does have a removal spell. It's just a free one.
That's big game right there.
Yeah, that's a nice one. As that Submerge will put the Reclaimer on top of the deck after Connor draws for the turn.
You know, most cards nowadays are templated as like either put it on the top or the bottom, and Submerge is just like, no, you go to the top and you stay at the top.
Yeah. So Bernal, we should have known. Strong player. He's got it covered. He did not have a removal spell. It's just free. Unexpected. All right. So here's Carpet of Flowers. Connor Hebart will go towards his second main and then cast Once Upon a Time. Carpet of Flowers, if you don't play a ton of Legacy, you can see right there a single green enchantment from Urza's Saga. And during either one of your main phases, but not both, you get mana equal to the number of islands your opponent has of whatever color of your choice. So it can act as a ritual the turn you cast it. By Connor plays it in main phase 1, passes through combat, goes to main phase 2, and then benefits 1 mana due to the Volcanic Island. Nice way to play around, as you described, a great way to play around all tax encounters.
100% here. And also, I mean, I want to give a shout out to the way Joe played the sequence that Submerge in, not on upkeep, because then we would have redrawn the Elvish Reclaimer and just played it for turn, but in the draw step, while we don't have 2 mana to activate the Elvish Reclaimer and tutor up something that could be far more terrifying. So the perfect timing here. Not surprised by the 14 timer. That's pretty cool stuff here. Carpet of Flowers in play, though, means that we might have some things to be worried about, because Carpet of Flowers effectively in this matchup, it can become extra copies of Cloudpost. It can become copies number, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if you need it to be.
Petty Theft again picks up the Reclaimer. Now, I know I said I wanted to see copies of the post lands, and we did get a Glimmer Post here, but still no Cloud Post in 2 games here for Connor, including an Expedition Map tutor, and still didn't look for a Cloudpost in the last game. So Delver looks like it's being a little hesitant to flip over. It's shy, just getting in for 1 damage here.
Yeah, the real problem here right now is, I mean, looking at this board state exactly, I don't see a reason why Joe even needs to commit more islands into play, which means the Carpet of Flowers could just be a glorified,
Right.
like Lotus Petal, not even Lotus Petal, but just another land drop or whatever it is.
Yeah, that is something that's pretty common. Players playing against Carpet of Flowers will leave their fetch lands in play, or play extra wastelands and just do everything they can to avoid putting blue sources on the board, including dazing themselves unnecessarily just to get the Volcanic Island off the board.
That's happened to me once before, and I was like, "Oh, you're just going to replay the Volcanic," and then when they didn't, I was like, "That's
It's not fair.
it's not fair."
You put in this Carpet of Flowers for a reason, and they're denying you. All right, so here's a Thespian's stage for Connor. Unlike in some of the other decks, it is not primarily used to make Merit Lage here. It's primarily used to make extra copies of Cloudpost. We just haven't found the first one yet.
Yeah, fair enough here. And by the way, Meltdown, 100% in here. We see Brazen Borrower also come into play now, but this means if we don't have an answer for the Elvish Reclaimer, next turn we get to add 2 mana from the carpet, main phase the Elvish Reclaimer, and then tutor up something like a Dark Depths, and that's going to be very annoying to deal with.
Mm-hmm. And Delver doesn't flip again, and that's actually a decent amount of missed damage now.
Yeah,
for Joseph, a second Wasteland.
I was trolling, by the way. Wasteland stops the Dark Depths combo, so we're good. We're good on there.
All right, looks like 1 Wasteland will activate.
Oh, is it targeting the Thespian stage? That could be a big mistake. It might be going after the Glimmer Post.
Maybe. Ooh. Okay. Well, it was. So what happened there, as Honorog kind of foretold, it was Wasteland on Thespian stage. Thespian stage activates on a basic forest to dodge the Wasteland, but the second Wasteland is used, and then Murktide cleans up the graveyard and jumps into play.
Big.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to assume that was intentional because we wanted 2 Wastelands in the graveyard while also getting rid of the Thespian stage. So while it might not look intuitive, this was actually the outcome that Joe wanted to get the Murktide Regent into play.
Yeah. All right. So 2 mana of Connor's choice, plus 3 in play, and now there's some conversation between the players, perhaps as to, I'm not sure.
Either way, it looks like we have 5 mana in play this turn that we can use. Is there a Green Sun Zenith in the hand? In fact, more importantly, let's take a rewind here. How exactly are we supposed to get out of this situation? Because the dragon is big now.
Yeah, this is tough. This perhaps we can get a clearer dice. I'm not even sure. That Murktide of 4/4. I don't know if that's a 1 on there or not. There's 2 bubbles, but I think it.
I don't think it's going to be a 6/6. That'd be crazy.
No.
Yeah. I think the only spell we've cast this game so far is the Submerge, so 4/4 is much more likely.
All right, so here's a Cloudpost. Here's a Cavern of Souls. And die on Joseph's deck is to remind him to check for his Delver, even though it's going to miss again if things stay on track for this game. I mean, there's only so many non-spells in the deck. It's going to flip eventually, right?
That's what we tell ourselves, but it never really works out that way.
And no.
I'm going to go to Vegas this weekend, right now. If it doesn't flip next turn as well, oh my goodness. You heard it here first. Me retiring at 29.
Even as a 1/1, it still represents 1 damage plus 3 from the Brazen Borrower plus probably 4 from the Murktide Regent.
Yeah, that's big. That's a lot. I mean, the Lightning Bolt will make it a 2-turn clock, so. Oh, wait a minute. Is that Cavern on Giant? Looks like it is. That can only mean one thing.
Wow. Well, that would be interesting. A Primeval Titan coming in? I mean, potentially 2 Cloudposts coming into play would make a fair amount of life. I believe that would gain, what, 8? But there's a lot of incoming damage now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you may be forced to just like pick up something like Glacial Chasm in this spot, and then never mind. It's in the hand.
Well, that might buy quite a bit of time then.
Yeah.
Primeval Titan is not the easiest thing to get off the board either for Joseph. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus carpet mana. That's a Green Sun Zenith. Okay, not a straight up Titan.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana in total here, which means we can X equals 6 pick up a prime time. And yeah,
Ooh,
do we see it come into play?
I mean, is there a Daze?
No, there isn't. We're going for the deck.
Okay, so we're still in it. In fact, is Connor just ahead now? I mean, how many do you gain? If you gain, okay, here's a Cloudpost. Nope, there's not a Cloudpost. Let's rethink this. Here's, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, there was a shortcutting there, but yeah.
We do need to get the Primeval Titan. Yeah,
this is true. What is this artwork? It's actually, I don't know if I've seen it, but it looks like a promo of some sort.
All right, Connor is not going to mess around. No Glimmer Posts required.
Wow.
So, going to rely on the Glacial Chasm, which probably will work. And if Primeval Titan gets to attack, which is not altogether impossible, then we'll see how things go. Now, the Glacial Chasm does hinder that for the moment. It is not
Cavern of Souls.
It's not a cursed land. It is, in fact, in play on Connor's side. Joseph's just reading all the text on the card. Sorry, I cut you off. Cavern of Souls.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, cumulative upkeep on the Glacial Chasm, so it's going to stay in play for a while, but this card does have a lot of cost associated with it. The first is that if you don't sacrifice a land, it does go to the graveyard, so we can see the Cavern of Souls be sacrificed for the Glacial Chasm on the ETB.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, the cumulative upkeep, so pay 2 life. Every turn you have to pay 2 life, and then that amount increases in increments. So this turn is 2, next turn is 4, then 6, but we don't even have that much life, so we get only about 2 turns or so of quote unquote safety. That's probably going to be enough though for Connor to end the game, because I mean, with the Elvish Reclaimer in play, you can use that on the first turn to tutor up something like Eye of Ugin, and then use the Eye of Ugin on the next turn to get, lo and behold, Emrakul. So
right. Depends on what else is in Connor's hand. I mean, the other text on Glacial Chasm, you cannot attack while it's in play, so it can sacrifice at some point. Is that a Price of Progress? I don't know what that card is on top. The artwork.
That's a Price of Progress.
Yeah, it's a Price of Progress. That's what I thought. So that artwork, that would change things somewhat, as that can likely kill Connor despite gaining a fair amount of life. Anyway, like I was saying, the Glacial Chasm can sacrifice to its own effect to allow Primeval Titan to attack at some point if Connor feels that the boost of lands would allow him to survive the turn or win the game anyway, despite the options it would give Bernal. So, decisions on hand for both players. Bernal starts by shuffling away the Price of Progress.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of curious. I think we just saw Bernal fetch the Price of Progress away. Now, as far as I'm aware, Glacial Chasm doesn't just prevent creature damage, it prevents all damage, right?
Yes.
So Price of Progress is not going to do anything exactly on this board. It's a really disciplined decision there then to fetch it away before drawing for the turn here. I think maybe Bernal is trying to hit that 2 of Wasteland out.
Perhaps.
But I could see the Price of Progress just being very good on this board state, because there's a ticking time bomb in and of itself that is the Glacial Chasm. You have to pay life, and when it gets sacrificed, just fire off the Price of Progress, and maybe you're good there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, drawing the Price of Progress would mean that the Primeval Titan could never attack, because the Glacial Chasm could never be dropped.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Carpet of Flowers mana. I don't think he needs Carpet of Flowers mana anymore, as there is how much mana in play? That looks, oh boy.
Yeah, I've been in the hand already.
So those Cloudposts each tap for 4. So
magical number, by the way, is 20, right? That's how much mana you need to activate Eye of Ugin. That's 7 mana plus tapping, and then you need 20 plus the Eye of Ugin, and then 13 mana to cast the Emrakul, which is
all right. So here is Once Upon a Time with 1 mana floating, I believe.
Okay, actually, here's one way you could beat Price of Progress if you wanted to get really cheeky, right? You could go Eye of Ugin, activate, and don't tutor up Emrakul, but instead tutor up Ulamog, and then hit the 2 backline Volcanics, send them into exile, boom, Price of Progress taken care of, And maybe after that, you could like tutor up a Karakas and bounce the Ulamog to get rid of some attackers, blockers, and then swing in with the prime time, get Glimmer posted. Yeah, that's actually it. I think this might just be a lock. Alternatively, you could just do this and pay a bunch of life to Glacial Chasm and just gain as much life back from Glimmer posts. Elvish Reclaimer doing work now.
Yeah, so Connor up to 11. And Cloudpost making even more mana.
I looked at that price of progress and I was like, wow, this is a really good card to draw. So the fact that Bernal could see through it almost instantly, he didn't take much time to think about it and realize that this price of progress is not what the game is about right now. Very heads up to that. You don't come to those conclusions that fast without practice.
All right, there is Big Daddy Emrakul, the original, the Aeons Torn. 15 mana, 13 with the Eye of Ugin discount. Not a problem for Connor right now.
How they make those like reprints of cards, but they like, for example, like the Godzilla card or like what is it, Doran's the Sprite Dragon rework, the artwork.
Yeah, Dorat, yes.
Yeah, Dora. Yeah, that is. They're gonna make one for Emrakul that's like Emrakul Anu Shattered Dreams or something like that. Because this card has just like taken away so many matches from me that
Glacial Chasm Sacrifice, Price of Progress. Is this game, Connor?
Oh wow.
Okay, Connor going to activate Reclaimer. Sacrifice Eye of Ugin. Get
another Glimmer Post.
Another Glimmer Post gains
6. That's not too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're taking 12, but you're at 17.
Yeah. Okay. This is all right.
And that's probably why Bernal actually shuffled the first one away.
Yeah.
That was the other line. The other universe is that we already have Price of Progress in the hand.
Yeah. I thought about that. I wonder if he already had the other one. Okay. So Connor will end up at 5 and then now can cast the Emrakul for
2 lands.
Two land plus Carpet of Flowers. There you go.
That's so absurd to me.
And now Primeval Titan attacks, and Connor will gain.
Yeah, no, Primeval Titan that gets Karakas, and
I guess that works too.
And a Glimmer Post, and you just take infinite turns now.
Yeah. I don't know if even infinite turns is required. The next turn's already in line, so Primeval Titan could bounce it next turn, but there is Karakas, like you said.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 life gained. Connor goes to 12. Joseph, Primeval Titan's incoming, dropping to 5.
As much pain as this card has caused me, Emrakul, Cloudpost, and whatnot, I can't help but root for this deck because, I mean, at this point, it's just established Izzet Delver is the enemy. You know what I mean? So I want to see Cloudpost take it down. This game didn't even look. I mean, like turn 1, it was submerge your Elvish Reclaimer, then bounce your Elvish Reclaimer. You don't get to reclaim the elves this game, and then like here we are, like 5 turns later, Glacial Chasm came in clutch. Through double Wasteland as well. This is crazy.
It's true. I mean, good job by Connor drawing out the second Wasteland. I mean, Bernal knew he was signing up for on that one. He wanted to get his Murktide into play, and it was it was looking okay for a while.
Yeah, I think it was actually, looking back at it, using 2 of your best cards in the matchup that aggressively just to get the Murktide out. I think that's what actually cost this game. It's too much of a resource in it, because if you had the Wastelands for the Glacial Chasm, this just would not have been a game, right? Like it would have been over on the spot.
What is happening here? Something is wrong. Okay. Okay. So I was thinking somehow Connor had mistapped for the Emrakul and didn't have enough mana, but that seemed unlikely. It's actually, was the Emrakul trigger announced? Will Connor actually get another turn potentially? So Emrakul does come into play, and you get another turn. However, that is a cast trigger, but you can miss a trigger.
That is very possible, yeah. So I guess we're going to resolve that and figure it out. I totally understand it, though. This is a very, very, very tense moment in the game / match. Looks like
everything is fine.
Okay.
Connor will untap, and Joseph Bernal will quite literally get annihilated.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 permanents.
Well,
You want to see a magic trick, Joe?
Yeah, sure.
All right, 1 sec. I gotta wait for Connor to get into attacks.
Okay.
Now you see them. Wait for it. Wait for it. Don't keep waiting for it. Keep waiting for it, Joe.
I think we're going to see everything lifted into hand as Bernal shuffles up for game 3. But okay. Annihilator 6 on the stack as long as Connor mentions it. Bernal counting up what to sacrifice. There's an awful lot of damage coming through. And
now you don't. Look at that. Okay, whoa. Good job, buddy. You set yourself up well for that one.
All right. So players are going to shuffle up for game 3. I got what I wanted. I wanted to see Cloudpost win a game and do its thing. Now Bernal going on the play for game 3 for the right to play in the finals.
Yeah. I'm going to throw the same question back at both you and the viewers today. Who do you think is going to win? So we saw game 1. We saw Delver win pretty convincingly. And then we saw game 2, Cloudpost win pretty convincingly. So now in game 3, I mean, you can't have 2 winners for a match. Not when the stakes are this high. So
right.
Yeah, I want to know, who do you think is going to win in this game 3? Is it going to be, Delver with the aggressive Daze draws, or maybe the post-board configuration of Cloudpost with Elvish Reclaimer and, a bunch of Carpet of Flowers and the...
It's hard to pick against the Price of Progress. I think one of the keys to that game was Connor drawing the Glacial Chasm because when the Primeval Titan came into play, Bernal thinks, okay, I'm still okay. And then the Glacial Chasm drops and it's like, oh, that buys like multiple turns. And then, we saw the Price of Progress tried to take it down, but the Reclaimer was there to rescue the game. So I don't know. I'd have trouble betting against the Price of Progress, even though in my heart, I would kind of like to see, now that I'm not stuck playing against it in a 2% matchup, I don't mind if the Cloudpost deck wins once in a while.
Oh, I mind, but I also mind because Delver is Delver, either way. So it's like me having to pick the best of 2 evils, the better of 2 evils, the whatever, the phrase. Whatever.
The lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah, the lesser of 2 evils. Thank you. That's exactly what I was. That's exactly what I said. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know why I corrected you when you said it right the first time. Yeah.
But I do think that game, a large part of that game was also due to the fact that, can you even really call it a mistake? Because in the moment there was Thespian Stage and an active Elvish Reclaimer that could have maybe procced Dark Depths. But if Dark Depths ever happens, you have 2 Wastelands in play. You can just get rid of the stage depths that has no counters, so you technically have an answer to that. And then that second Wasteland could have handled the Glacial Chasm. So really the question is, was that Murktide worth it?
Well, so here's another way we could have gone is Wasteland on the Glimmer Post and then see if the Reclaimer responds. Perhaps it doesn't because of the second Wasteland, and just have the second Wasteland for mana and still play Murktide that turn and then have it in play for the future to potentially waste something else. Maybe that would have worked as well.
It's possible. Yeah, that was a very complex micro situation, and I totally understand why Bernal made the play he did, but I have to wonder if the ripples from that one game decision is why we were able to stabilize as the Cloudpost deck and finally get that inevitable Emrakul, Caracas, Prime Time, all the good stuff in there. Yeah.
All right. So Joseph Bernal working on his sideboard again, and then we're probably going to see the inevitable pile shuffle before the game gets started. So while we're waiting, Anurag, I've got a trivia question for you. You're a student of the Legacy format.
I was close.
What number? You were trying to guess the answer before I said it?
Yeah, all 3 times, Joe. I've said 42. Just ask me a question where the answer is 42. I'll look so smart.
The question is, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty had a card show up in multiple deck lists in the Legacy 5.0 list this week, a Planeswalker Commander.
What?
I'm sorry. Let me make sure I get this right because it's ridiculous, but I want to make sure. Yes, indeed. Not a Planeswalker. I'm sorry, not a Planeswalker Commander, an Artifact Commander.
Artifact Commander.
A commander that made from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty that made multiple 5.0 lists this week. I don't think you have it.
An Artifact Commander. Hold up. I got to think about this. An Artifact Commander okay, so it's probably What? You
Yes,
just can't, you
indeed.
can't take two words and just put them together and expect that to be a.
I would say so too. Let's see if we can pop up on the screen before Bernal presents his deck. Shorakai, Genesis
Oh
Engine.
my goodness! What is that card called? That's Optimus Prime. Yeah,
Yeah,
dang. Okay, all right. I should have known that. I
Shorakai,
should have known
Genesis
that.
Engine. New to the Legacy format. I had never seen this card before yesterday. I guess it's existed for a month now, maybe, or whenever the Commander set came out.
Yeah, I saw
Anyway,
this in a couple Japanese lists. I thought that was
yeah.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's go back down to the table. I've done my role. I've stumped Onrog. Let's get the game going.
I could see Joe writing this down somewhere, just like is like never forget. It's April 3rd, 2022.
I'll admit I did think about that for earlier today and forgot about it. I was like, oh, I got to remember to ask him this because there's no way he knows what the card
There
is.
was no way I was gonna get that.
All right, Connor Hebart with a mulligan here in game number 3. Bernal waiting, ready to go. I don't know the result of the other semifinal match, but I do know that it is over. So once this match is done, shouldn't have too long of a wait before the finals can conclude this weekend.
Give me a prediction. What do you think? Izzet Delver against Jeskai Daze Undoing? Who do you think is going to win that one?
I don't know. I kind of like the removal that's being presented. Even though the Daze Undoing deck has a couple cards, like I feel like for a control deck, there's a lot of cards that don't contribute to staying alive. Like they're basically win. Like Daze Undoing is that. I mean, that's kind of a win condition plus the planeswalkers. I don't know. There's some. I don't feel like it's as clean as something like, oh, I don't know, Entreat the Angels, but I do like the removal. I do like the removal against the Delver deck. So I think I'm going to root for that side, or at least not root for, but say that might be the winner. Anyway, we have a ponder here from Joseph after Connor keeps 6. And we're underway.
And of note, Connor's on a mulligan to 6, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, mulliganing with these non-blue decks is... Mulliganing with a blue deck feels bad, but I feel like mulliganing with a non-blue deck feels a lot less worse because your deck is just so potent.
Yes, I agree. And also you have less... I mean, there's card advantage built into the Delver deck, but also, 1 for 2 is built in the deck with Force of Will and such. So the Cloudpost deck is just going to develop, do its thing, and not facing a creature on turn 1. Turn 1 creature for Connor, though.
Yeah, Elvish Reclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
I know Hello Newton says that Elvish Reclaimer is the strongest card, the best creature in Legacy. I certainly have cast doubt on that statement before, but I've seen Elvish Reclaimer do some crazy things, and I think there might be a lot more credit to that statement than you would initially perceive. So,
that is a strong statement. Okay, Joseph, give me some thought. Looked like he was thinking about playing Fetch Land there. Now reconsidering. We saw Lightning Bolts.
10,000%.
We saw Lightning Bolts dispatch Elvish Reclaimer. We saw Submerge put him on top of the deck. We'll see if there's an answer this time. Here is a Delver of Secrets.
It's there. Oh yeah, I think I see it there. The Submerge.
Is that
like
right?
Second or third card, right next to the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
That light blue, iconic, old school art color.
Oh, there's a Wasteland instead of Fetch Land. And Connor does make it to a second land drop this time.
Okay, never mind. I'm just kidding. I'm going blind in my late 20s.
That's unfortunate for you. I mean, people do have deficiencies they have to live with. I mean, Nerd Rage, judge lead and integral member of the team, Max Khan, certainly losing his hair in his early 20s. So you going blind in your late 20s? I mean, things happen to people.
He's a real human being. I just want you to know that. He doesn't get paid enough for this. Oh my goodness. Well, I got the salt and pepper, so it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Now that being said, looking at the match here, Delver did not flip, which is, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
Well, that's a Boseiju. Targeting
Wasteland, maybe?
Targeting the Wasteland when there's no target for it. Okay.
That's creative.
Yeah.
I could definitely get behind this.
Does the Boseiju mana come into play untapped? I feel like it might. Yeah, so that's giving Joseph an extra mana source for the turn. That's
a lot.
Yes. I kind of like this play. But I'm worried about the timing. Yeah, getting a free untapped Volcanic Island is considerable.
And the shuffle on the Brainstorm too.
Now, maybe this is the end of end of turn. That's possible.
Okay, sure. But Delver never attacked. Oh no, Delver can't attack.
We're
It's a 1/2. Oh, this is in response to the. Oh, this is all in the upkeep in response to the Delver trigger.
Okay.
Okay, this makes sense. Now we're gonna really put the Delver to the test.
All right, because the Brainstorm was setting up for the Delver flip. Okay, I'm with it now. Yeah, I like this. So Connor, allowed Joseph to transmute a Wasteland into a Volcanic Island at the cost of the Delver potentially not flipping, and was paid off for it. So, all right.
But this is like a pretty. I mean, okay, actually, I think it's even cooler too because that one floating just did nothing. Yeah.
Well, the extra card in the graveyard mattered though.
Yeah. Okay.
As a Murktide Regent is in play on turn 3 as a 5/5. So this is a lot for Connor to deal with here.
You get to untap though with this Elvish Reclaimer, which is always nice.
Yeah. Well, I untapped with it last turn too and chose to Boseiju instead. Here now, it is going to eat a Submerge in response. So what'll happen is the Reclaimer will go to the top of the deck and then be forced to shuffle. And this is a Cloudpost. That's great, but Connor's facing down at minimum.
I knew I wasn't going blind. Yeah. I saw the Submerge there. I knew I was right. I played way too much in this game to miss out on that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So 6 damage at least coming across for Connor and sitting there. That was the turn, basically. All right. 2 Cloudposts. As Vesuva will copy. Interesting, there's 2 Vesuvas and 2 Thespian Sages because you have to be able to work with Dark Depths. You can't run all Vesuvas.
The Delver finally flips. It's turn, I think it's turn 3. I don't know. I've lost track. I usually use the lands to keep track of the turn counts, but with the Boseiju and things like that, I think it's turn 3. I don't think Connor has missed a land.
The land, yeah. No, I think it's turn 4 because Joseph went first this game.
Oh, okay. All right. Facts. True. Yes, I agree. Submerge is a sweet card. I really like the modality on that. Like what we got to see earlier, it was used as like a tempo card because it put the Elvish Reclaimer back on top to deny a fresh draw. Now it's being used as a 0 mana removal spell to in conjunction with the opponent's shuffle ability. This is a very flexible card. Honestly, one of the real embodiments of like legacy tempo. You don't really see it that often, and it was Bernal has used this card very effectively this match.
And here's an attack for 8. Connor falling to 12. And looks like potentially maybe facing 11 damage next turn if the Dragon Rage Shadow can go big, which I guess is irrelevant because 11 versus 12 may as well be 9 versus 12. Bolt does it either way.
How crazy would it be if the last 2 cards are like Forced Negation blue card?
Strong.
Yeah.
Well, it would not stop Reclaimer. And it's a 3/4 Reclaimer.
Okay. Yeah. Need to see if the Dragon's Rage Channeler can get Delirium here. Otherwise, Petty Theft. That's a really good draw.
Well, that's okay. Whew. Yes, it is a nice draw, right? Land gets milled. No Delirium. So that's just 9. Just 9. It's
just 9.
3.
And it feels kind of Dobbs here. I mean, literally you are dead on board, but I don't know how you're supposed to get enough mana. Oh, there's a Cropper. Oh, it's Once Upon a Time. Never mind. Not sure how we're supposed to get out of this one.
No, I don't know either. Thespian Stage, good luck. Making land drops is nice and everything, but there's just not that much mana to work with. Something like Glacial Chasm, which worked the previous game for a little while, it's not going to work for long when Connor's at 3. I guess Glacial Chasm followed by a string of Glimmer Posts, maybe?
I'll tell you what's not good enough. Another Elvish Reclaimer.
Right. But I was like, is this a 3/10 that can block any number of flying creatures? No.
It's just always there. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Needs a Blaze of Glory on this Elvish Reclaimer and flying.
Yeah, you're outdating me here. I've not.
Blaze of Glory, I believe, I don't even remember for sure. I think is a white instant that allows a creature to block everything.
Oh. Oh, like I know one of those like 100-handed creatures that has
Yes.
you can block multiple creatures kind of
Yeah.
thing, like that. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So there's the Glacial Chasm with counter on it. So if counter falls to 1, a Cloudpost drop. Okay, there's a Thespian Stage. Let's see.
A little bit
Now
tricky here.
that
I'm not really sure what our play is. We can
all right. So I think if we go Thespian Stage, copy the Cloudpost, and then upkeep, transform the forest into a Glimmer Post, that would is Connor a 3? I feel like he's a 1.
it makes a big difference for sure.
It
Well,
does.
actually that's you paid 2 already, so if you pay 4, you can't pay 4, so
Right. You can't pay 4 if through the thing I was talking through. So here is Sac Forest. Here's Surgical Extraction.
wow.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't have money on that getting boarded in.
This is brutal.
So this is the way to cripple. I mean, this has been used against Tron decks also occasionally, where you just try and Wasteland once and then, or equivalent, goes quarter and strip them out. So Cloudpost in the graveyard. We're all probably not going for Cloudpost here, but maybe. Yeah, it is. Okay. Cloudpost is out of here.
Can we even like surmise a comeback here? I
mean,
feel like it's truly doomed.
there is still a Cloudpost in play in the form of Vesuva. So a bunch more, well, several more copy things that can copy Vesuva would still allow Connor to generate big mana. However, I don't see how he's surviving the next couple turns.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Oh, we don't even have green mana now, so it gets a lot harder. I was gonna say something along the lines of like Green Sun Zenith, sorry, Primeval Titan, put that into play while the Great Glacial Chasm is active. Then you can Green Sun Zenith for Ramunap Excavator and hope to draw a land every turn. And then, no, that doesn't even, yeah, and then just keep playing like Glacial Chasm over and over again. Like maybe that's an
Sure.
out, but
All right.
getting to Primeval Titan is a tall order.
So here is a copy of Cloudpost. So if Connor's actually at 3, then turning Thespian Stage into a Glimmer Post here would put Connor up to 6 and survive the turn. However, I still feel like he's a 1.
Well, the play is happening, so
Okay. So the play that was made is instead Thespian Stage, copy the Glacial Chasm, and then let it
ooh,
die to
tricks.
cumulative upkeep. So that's
One more
keeps
turn.
Connor alive, but costs a land. There's a Glimmer Post.
Bang!
Okay.
Don't call it a comeback.
Well, that should gain 3.
Yes, it should gain 3. Yep.
All right, so maybe Connor was at 1, which is what I thought, or maybe the life totals are I don't know. I think Connor's at 4.
Sure. We'll just operate under
Yeah.
the assumption of what we see in play is correct. And here's the Delver of Secrets. 2 Wastelands are gone. So I don't
Right.
know if we're statistically even like through cantrips going to die this turn, but magic is
right.
happening now. So, oh, do we get to just rotate away for another?
Oh, right. I guess I was thinking that.
Can it happen? Dreams? Do you have to pay life? You don't have to pay life for the first. Oh no, yeah, that's incredible. Actually, Thespian Stage and Glacial Chasm, right? Not only do you not have to sack a land when you copy the stage, you also don't have to pay life at that instance. So I'm not 100% sure how much life you're losing this turn. It might just be 2 life.
It's just 2.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna teach you a new word, Joe. That's bussin'.
All right, so to 2, there's a Green Sun and Zenith in hand. So the Ramunap Excavator that you were talking about would then allow the Glimmer Post to be replayed from the graveyard. Here,
oh my god.
Oh, okay. That's 2 oh my gosh, I can't even speak. If Bernal has virtually anything here, Connor is probably going to die. Daze.
Not like this.
Wow. And that's it. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Connor saw the path and just defeated by a Daze on about turn 8. Oh, with 6 mana in
It's
play.
always like the turn 10 dazes that hit you the hardest. You were going to feel that sting for a while, but
Yeah.
wow. Like, I wasn't even sure if Daze was in the deck post
I
board.
was
And
not
like,
either.
it
Yeah.
showed up at the perfect time. So great job here by Bernal, advancing on to the finals of the 5K, defeating Cloudpost in a very, very close game 3.